Hello and welcome to another episode of Interviews from an Undisclosed Location, a series of podcasts produced by the John Cotton Dana Library at Rutgers University, Newark. I'm your host, Mark Papianni. In this series, I'll be talking with my colleagues to find out more about their roles within Dana Library and maybe if they're willing to disclose or look into their personal lives in and away from Rutgers University. Conversations may get quite deep, but we'll try to keep it interesting and informative. Today I'll be talking with Adriana Cuervo, the head of the Archival Collections and Services at the Institute of Jazz Studies.
So you can say whatever you want, but I'm not editing.
Whatever I want. I'm saying it. Whatever I want.
But I'm not editing anything, okay?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And it's all very, very informal, okay? It's all very informal. That's why I didn't give you any questions ahead of time. Adriana Cuervo, thank you very much for, agreeing to do this. We're now going under the title of Interviews from an Undisclosed Location. So we don't tell anybody where you are. Nobody knows where I am, but we all can kind of figure out where we are.
Underground in New Jersey.
Underground in New Jersey somewhere? Sure, that's that's good. Good to know. But let's say you've been correct title for
I'm the head of Archival Collections and Services for Dana Library.
Oh, okay. So is that pertaining to IJS, or that's just?
I oversee IJS and the Rutgers Newark Archives.
Oh, okay. All right. So, let's just go right down to this part over here.
Okay.
When were you first made aware that this pandemic we're in, the whole COVID-19 thing, was going to become a major event?
Oh my God. Well, I went to a conference in Birmingham in January. In Birmingham in the UK in January.
Mm-hmm.
And one day, after a day of sessions and panels, we went out to eat dinner and have a beer with a couple of the other conference goers. And one gentleman was just sharing, he had heard about this virus in China that was getting people really sick, that they couldn't figure out what was going on, that people got this pneumonia and they were dying and it was just horrendous. And I was like, what is this? And I was like, well, let's hope it gets contained or figured out. And that was, I want to say, like the 10th of January or so. Then, came back, started working again, semester started, the usual. And then you started hearing a little bit more, it went to Europe, then Italy was in full-blown quarantine, and we were all aghast at the seemingly draconian measures the Italian government was taking. And then it hit us in mid-March. And I remember it's my mom's birthday. It's her birthday's on St. Patrick's Day, the 17th. And I remember, that day was like when we started that week, that was the week prior to Rutgers going on spring break. An email had been coming out about potentially moving to online instruction. And that's when everything kind of started snowballing from that point on.
Yeah. Did you ever think that we'd be going through anything like this?
Never. At the beginning, I was like, well, we'll be out for a couple of weeks, while this blows over. We'll be, it'll be contained. It'll be, the public health officials, the government will be acting in our best interest and really marshaling the resources to stop it. So we'll be fine. But here we are, early July, and we're still working from home. But I'm glad to hear that, at least in New Jersey, I have been really encouraged by the governor's approach to managing the crisis and really being extra cautious in relying on facts and scientific knowledge and best practices. So.
Yeah, that's it. Just relying on the facts, relying on the professionals, the authorities, the ones who really are the ones you should be listening to.
Yes.
Yeah. So But
I did not gargle Clorox. I did not try to spray my throat with Clorox or take advantage of the sunshine. So I'm with the science people.
no sunshine for you? No outside?
Well, some sunshine, but like not for like, COVID treatment. For a while there, didn't they say like you shine some sunlight into your inner organs and that'll cure you? Wasn't that a thing in April?
Yeah, and that was like so
Yeah.
long ago. We say back in April.
Yeah.
Gosh, this has been almost 4 months now, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the longest vacations I've ever had, if not the longest vacation.
Yeah.
How are you managing working from home? I mean, I imagine you can get a lot done as far as emails and video
I do and I
conferences.
don't because the majority of our work is collections based. So the collections are at Dana Library. So that's been a challenging piece. And I worry about our materials, our archives, just from a basic standpoint of like just walking, making sure that the temperature and humidity are at acceptable levels, that things are still there. It's like, I don't know, I guess, I don't have children, but I could imagine when parents travel and leave their children at home, they're always thinking about them, like, oh, I hope they brushed their teeth. Oh, I hope they had dinner. I hope they didn't stay up too late, those kinds of things. So like, that's the kind of worry that's been with me since day one.
Well, speaking as a parent, I don't do that anymore.
Good.
I'm kind of lucky in a sense where my kids are primarily grown. At least they're adult children, if you want to call it that, but very responsible. So I don't have to worry about them brushing their teeth. And yes, I do worry about them when they come home, what time they're coming home, and so forth. But I don't have to worry about any homeschooling.
Oh, good.
I am very blessed and lucky that I don't have to do anything like that because I see what some of my friends are going through.
Yeah.
I see what Consuelo has gone through.
Yeah.
So, and you don't have to. You say it was your mom's birthday. How is
Yes.
the family all doing?
They're all doing well. They're quarantined. My parents are both over 70, so in Colombia, and they live in Colombia, and they have very, very specific restrictions about who can go out and when. And the 70 plus population is even more quarantined than the younger people. So both my parents they're behaving, which is always good. Sometimes they're like, oh, this doesn't apply to me. And I'm like, no. Like one day I remember my mom was telling me that she was going to go to the bank and then she was going to stop at the bakery and then maybe stop at the home store. And I'm like, no, one place, one outing, period. You don't need to be hopping around from point A to point B, mingling with people, even though you're wearing a mask and social distancing and whatnot. Just don't do this.
Yeah.
She's like, you know what? You're right. I should just do, if I need to do, I only go out and do what absolutely needs to be done. And I'm like, there you go. And I was like, why are you going to the bank? She's like, I need to pay the water bill. And I'm like, have you heard of the internet, Ma?
Yeah.
Pay it online or call and pay it over the phone.
Yeah, really.
But
Let you take care of that or something, because
yeah.
there seems to be the age groups, the younger generation, the teens, between the early 20s, and then the 65 and older, if you want to say that. They always think that it's not going to affect them, and so why is it only the between 20 and 60 or 20 and 65 are the only people that they seem to be informed, and we have to educate everybody.
Educate the rest. You're right.
Mm-hmm. So no homeschooling for you, which is good. Were you studying for further education? Your
Yes,
PhD?
I am pursuing a master's degree in American Studies, and this all hit. I was taking one course this semester, and fortunately, the professor had scheduled the course. She had planned for the first half of the semester to have like a lot of reading, and then the second half you had to develop a paper, and like it would be more geared towards working on your paper and doing like the most of the writing piece and the supporting your ideas and like that part. So it worked out well for us because by the time they moved classes online, we had already been done with the reading and the discussions of the readings.
Mm-hmm.
So when we started again, it was easier to just submit drafts and submit writing samples of things and shared. And then she organized us in groups to proofread and edit. So like we would share our writing with like 2 other people, so groups of 3, and then that's how kind of we workshopped our papers and did the rest of the semester until we finished writing them and turned them in.
Well, that's good. I was considering going back and possibly finishing up mine, but I'm not sure right now. I'll have to investigate that a little bit further. So we'll see.
Well, this was my last class. I have thesis credits now, so I don't have to take courses anymore, which it just worked out really well for me. So it'll just be working on my thesis from now until May.
Okay, good. Yeah, I think you'll have time to finish that up, don't you?
I hope so. I mean, I better. This has been like 5 years in the making since I can only take 1 class per semester, and it's taken me all of that to finish the coursework and now the thesis. And I'm looking forward to having my nights and weekends to myself again.
Good.
Pick up a couple of hobbies. Who knows?
That'll bring me into a question I had a little bit later on, but I don't really time to binge on Netflix or anything like that.
You know what has happened to me? I am a binger, or I used to be a binger, but when you spend your entire day in online meetings on WebEx or Zoom and like your face like buried on the computer screen, once the workday is done, I'm like, no more screens for me. That's it.
I don't care if it's just passive.
No.
Yeah.
So so it really, like, I've only until recently, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, I was watching a couple of shows and I finally, got myself to finishing what I was watching. But it was weird because at the beginning, the beginning of the pandemic, like we had no idea what we were up against. We had no idea how this was going to turn out. And we were like, yeah, I'll finally have time to binge this. Oh, I'll do this, I'll do that. Nope. Forget it. No.
What were the shows that you were hopefully going to be watching?
Well, I just finished, I did last night. I finished The Americans. It's a spy show. It's on Amazon, and it's really, that's like my type of show. It's based it's about this couple that they are Russian spies that they were sent to live here in the States in the late 70s, early 80s, in the thick of the Cold War, to do some spying and some, on behalf of the Russians. So it's how they go about their lives pretending to be, good, patriotic Americans, but, in the evenings, and that's just a cover for their spying. And they, it's like 5 or 6 seasons or something. And I just had the last season to watch, and I really like, it's the, the bad guys, the good guys, the FBI. Oh my gosh, they're going to find out. And anyhow, so that's kind of what I enjoy.
No guilty pleasures as far as watching anything? I mean, it's something you not quite embarrassed to say you watch.
Not embarrassed. Okay, the one other thing, something like right in April when the going was getting really rough, I was watching a lot of the Great British Baking Show. I don't know if you've watched that. It's a baking reality competition. And I love to cook and I love to bake, and it's right up my alley. And I don't know if it's funny or sad, but I had already watched it, but I forgot who won. And I had no recollection whatsoever of what had happened in the different seasons. So when I watched it again, I just had no clue. I was like, oh, Susie, you made it to the next round. Wow, amazing. So I did a lot of that. And that was it's just such an uplifting show. and you pick up some tips about baking here and there, and you know the desserts that these people make are amazing. They look so delicious that it is just one of those feel good kind of guilty pleasures that I allow myself when you needed a little bit of hope.
Consider yourself as good a cook as baker as some of those contestants, and
Yeah, I mean, I really like. I mean, I'm not like people ask me like, oh, you know, what do you do? And I was like, I just follow the recipe. You know, like it tells me 1 cup of flour, I put 1 cup of flour. You know, it tells me put the water first and then the egg. I put the water first and then the egg.
you're not an experimenter. You're not.
No, like I will do, like if I have a new recipe to try, I will follow it to a T. And then when it comes out, I'll taste, and they're like, oh, maybe this needs it's too sweet. Maybe next time I'll add less sugar, or like, oh, it needs a little bit extra more time in the oven, like stuff like that.
Making your meals, right? Feeding yourself.
I always
staying
do.
healthy.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
No restaurants or anything like that.
Well, for a while, my couple of local spots were closed.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the end of that. But recently, there's a poke place here where I live in an undisclosed location that I really, really like, and they opened like 3 weeks ago. So I've gotten it a couple times. And there's a burger place as well nearby that I'm a fan. So
You're a big burger fan. I know that.
get my burger and some fries, and the fries are extra crispy, you know, like really well done. Oh my goodness.
Yes. Well,
Good stuff.
And you're a good tipper, I assume, right?
Yes. You have to tip these folks well because they are out there, and I like that they're, you know, small businesses, local, and I really want to make sure that they can still make their amazing food.
Yep.
Forever and ever.
And get it to you too. Okay.
Yeah.
So, what about lines at the stores? You do supermarkets or anything like that? Practicing your social distancing, I assume.
Yes, I practice my social distance.
And have you run into anyone who you've had an encounter with as far as not keeping their social distance or not wearing a mask?
One time I went to the grocery store and I had, you know, it was just like, it was not a full-blown grocery run. It was just like, oh, we're out of eggs and I'll pick up some cilantro, you know, one of those random.
Right.
I went in and it was a madhouse. Like people were not being mindful of the space they were occupying. And they were like, you know, walking aimlessly in here and there. And I was like, it really kind of like, it bothered me. So I was like, you know what? I can live without eggs and cilantro for a couple of days. Goodbye. Like turned around and left. Like, I don't need this in my life. It's too, you know, I got stressed. So I ended up, you know, waiting it out. And sometimes I go like in the evening or like first thing in the morning, you know, try to avoid the crowds. One time also I went to Target to pick up, I don't know what I had to get, but it was a Target run. And I get to Target and the parking lot is packed. And I'm like, nope, thanks, but no thanks. Not today.
Nope. I guess I just don't need whatever it was I thought I needed.
I think I needed like paper towels, like some random Target bulk purchase that you do every now and then.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I don't need paper towels today.
How are you as far as masks? What do you go for, the safety health mask, or are you the fashion scarf? Or
I am crafty, so I sewed some masks early on. So I have an assortment of different masks from some nice printed cotton I had laying around.
You color coordinate with your outfit?
If I can, yes. And you know, I keep one in the car, one in my purse, a couple hanging by the door. So there's always a mask laying around somewhere.
Forget the mask?
Yes. One time I drove to a supermarket and get out of the car and I'm walking in and there's like, where's my mask? Where's my mask? No mask. Come back.
So you have to turn around and go back home? Pick up the mask? You didn't do the mask
and go back out.
T-shirt thing? You know, just pull your collar.
That's just not good.
No, I know.
That's when I like designated it like a car mask that lives in the car. So at
Okay,
least I have a backup.
good idea. I do the same thing. Okay, well, let's get just a little bit, deep here for a second. And we've had the whole protests and the Black Lives Matter
Mhm.
situation going on. And I assume you've been keeping up with all the news.
Yes.
So how do you think that's going to pan out? Any thoughts on that?
I am hopeful that finally we are effecting change and that we are challenging the structures that have oppressed people of color and minorities for centuries in this country, and that people are just fed up and they're taking it to the streets and they're demanding. I mean, like, it seems like up until this point, everything was brushed under the carpet. Like, oh, well, oh.
Why
But
do you
now
think
it's really taking, it's really growing and taking, and it's Congress is looking at legislation, and they're removing Confederate statues, and this really, like recently, for example, like for us at Newark, they took out they took down the Columbus statue, and I was so pleased to, well, A, they took it down, and B, that it came about in a very peaceful. There were no public unrest or anything.
Well, it was defaced from what I understand at first.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that
but there were no like disturbances or that, because that always like really, like, I was glad to see the city officials to like be proactive and just get it over with. So that piece was nice. So like, I'm thinking about November. I hope that this really is the catalyst for big change for our country.
Yeah. I always was curious as to why it took so long. I mean, we've known that this was going on for so many decades, and we're supposed to be better than the previous generation. And really, it did not seem like we were getting any better.
Yeah.
And I was always frustrated beyond belief why it's taking so long. What is wrong? Why are these people still believing these things? So I'm just as glad as you are that it really is starting to take effect. I'm disappointed that it took this long.
I think it was just, a perfect storm kind of thing. Had we not been in a pandemic, had people not already been stressed out and worked up and tired and just, completely, how do you say that? Completely like disillusioned, and just, the country was in a really difficult emotional state to begin with. And you add this, and people are going to revolt.
Mm-hmm.
And rightfully so.
So in a way, 2020 has its good points and its bad points.
The good points are very few.
Yeah, I don't know that we'll actually, the differences and the will all weigh out, but we may find some good in this decade.
Yeah, I am hopeful that this will. I mean, at least it has changed a lot of things for me in terms of my own, like, what matters at the end of the day, and where I choose to spend my time and my resources, and how I used to like contribute to society in a meaningful way. So it's really put that front and center for me personally.
Okay, jump on to another personal thing. What is your one guilty pleasure that you today,
No,
tomorrow, yesterday? What's your one guilty pleasure besides pretzel rods? I know you have a huge an affection for pretzel rods.
Those are good.
But I don't think it's as big of a guilty pleasure. I mean, is it music?
It was my birthday last week, and I got.
Happy birthday. I won't ask.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I got my.
What was that, by the way? I was, having your birthday in lockdown and quarantine.
I I struggled a little bit with that because I do enjoy celebrating my birthday. If we were not in this situation, I would invite people over, make a nice meal, cake, have a party, have a good old time with friends and family. But of course we didn't. So what I did is I scheduled my friends to like come visit me at different times, and we visited outside at my deck.
Oh, okay.
So I had like this different groups of people coming, masks and everything. And, some people brought me brunch, some people brought me strawberry shortcake and some Prosecco. And then my other friend had me over for dinner at her back deck, and it's, also from a distance.
So you were everything all scheduled out.
Yeah, so I've had like this past weekend, like I had this rolling calendar of visits and social time that was really, really nice.
Good. I'm glad you were able to have some kind of celebration there, because I know a few people who have been basically in total lockdown. They unfortunately don't live with other family members or anything like that, and or a significant other, and have had to spend their birthday pretty much by themselves. And that I mean, I'm a big fan of birthdays too. I mean, your birthday is in the middle of the year, mine is at the end of the year, and I'm really looking forward to my birthday when this is all over, and I'm really hoping that it's going to be, but I don't know. So I'm glad you were able to do some kind of celebrating. So, but when this is all over, and it's going to be all over, right?
Yes.
What is the one good positive thing that you think we can all take away from this?
I mean, I don't think but for myself, I think I have my priorities realigned and fine-tuned. And I'm happy to be at peace, not at peace, but like to have those become so clear right now.
That's
so
good.
I think like that, yeah. So like the direction I'd like to take my life in, and what I'd like to cultivate, and what I'd like to spend my time on. And so that's really been comforting and eye-opening, and I'm happy I got to do this like adjustment, at least, that I came out of the pandemic with solid plans and hopes and dreams.
Well, good. I'm glad you're able to have that outlook on the whole thing. And let's see. I think that can wrap it up for us. I'm gonna have to turn the air conditioner on back again, because I am dying in this room right now.
You're probably melting.
I really am. As much of a fan as I am of the warm weather, I do appreciate the air conditioning every once in a while. But I just shut it off for this because of the noise it was making, the excruciating noise. But Adriana, thanks very much for
Thank you
talking to us today.
For making time to talk to me.
Right, and hopefully we'll be able to share a burger, some pretzel rods, and a beer very, very soon.
Yes.
Okay?
Sign me up.
All right. Miss you, and have a happy birthday, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Thank you, Mark.
All right. Bye now.
And that's it for this week's show. I've been your host, Mark Papianni. Tune in next week for another episode of Interviews from an Undisclosed Location.